Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I am your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Stephen Steers with us. Did I pronounce your name right, Stephen?
It's fine. Stephen, it's fine. Steven's fine. All good.
Okay, brother. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. It's great to meet you.
Awesome, brother. Same here. For our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Big question. What's up, everybody? I'm Steven Steers. I'm a native of New York City, and I am a sales trainer, sales consultant who created a method I call context selling, which is how to make context the most important and easy way for you to sell more to the right people with the right message. That's what I do.
Can you describe your context selling framework and how does it impact your client business?
Yeah, I'll do my best to do that. I think one of the major things is, for example, when you got in touch with me, you showed me that you listened to something that I was on, right? You gave me some details. I was like, oh, okay, this person understands who I am, and it made a relevant ask based on how they understood what was happening. That is a perfect example of context selling. It's understanding who you're talking to, what message might land, and actually showing respect for the people you're talking to by doing some level of research. Maybe AI helped or whatever, but that's fine. It's just more of you're taking the time to land with a message that shows that you're actually just talking to them. And so that's one of the ways. So if we think a lot about sales, a lot of folks, maybe 5 years ago, the motto was what we call spray and pray. Means you just get a list of people and you can throw a ton of emails at people and you'll probably get a couple customers. Doesn't really matter tons of what your message says. You're just pushing a product or service. We all know now that that does not work at all. And so what context selling is generally about is finding the right message, and you don't need as many people if you're sending the right message to fewer people. So that's generally the philosophy around it. And so it's training people on how to say the right thing to the right person at the right time and not doing tons of quantity. It's quality messaging.
Yeah. Brother, you have a book, okay?
I do.
Superpower Storytelling. So can you talk about that? Wow, it looks good.
Thank you, man. I'm really proud of it. So part of context selling plays off of storytelling. And I think storytelling is one of the most underutilized tools in anybody's business. For example, who you are is the most interesting thing about what you do. And are you telling that story? Why did you start your business? Why is this a problem you want to solve? What are some of the results people have seen working with you? These are all tools that people kind of keep to themselves. And the importance of that is if I'm a potential customer of yours, I want to see myself in the results that you can get. And so by you telling a story about it, it's the fastest path in my mind to say, Atul and his team can take care of that for me. The other thing with stories, just looking more scientifically, you're about 22 times more likely to remember a story than you are to remember anything else. So you're actually doing yourself a proper service by telling a story because you're more memorable and your competition's probably not doing that. We want to what? Sorry? Yes. Closure. Yes. So you pay a lot more attention when somebody's telling you something because you're like, how's it going to end? What's happening here? Who are the important characters? And you nailed it. There's something in human psychology that responds well to stories. And it's in specifically the domain I'm in, which is sales. Sales is all about psychology. So the more ways you can stack the deck in your favor to create a framework where someone makes a decision. So again, I'd love to sell twice as much as I'm selling now. Who wouldn't? But the key thing about stories is it helps create emotion. And when there's emotion, you put someone in a decision-making mind frame. Hopefully it's a yes. Sometimes it's a no, but I'd rather have a no than a long maybe. And so a story can help you kind of shortcut your way to get to that. So that's kind of what the book's about. And I think a lot of founders don't leverage the skill set enough. So that's why it's a tactical guide to telling the stories you need to lead, tell, and inspire. Yeah, I think it depends on the strategy. But one thing I'd say is even, Atul, if I was raised in the same town in India as you, and we went to the same schools, we studied the same thing, and we even were in the same industry, our stories are going to be completely different because they're our stories. And so even if somebody else is doing storytelling, no one has the same story as you. That's your unique calling card. No one can compete with you on that. And so that reason, I think, even if other people are doing it, you stand to benefit from doing it as well. Not sure if I lost you.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know what happened. Yeah.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, for some reason, my screen shut down.
It happens, man. It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
We can pick up wherever you want.
Yeah, we can start right now. So we are talking about stories and you're telling something.
What was the last thing you heard? I
was just too much shocked, so I forgot.
No, it's okay. I think the last point you made was you asked if a lot of people are doing the same thing, is that a good thing for you to be doing it as well? and I was talking about storytelling. So finishing that thought, it depends on the strategy. If a lot of people are doing something, it may not be the right thing for you to do. However, with storytelling, if you see other people doing it, if I was raised in the same town in India as you, I went to the same schools, I even worked in the same profession, we're going to have completely different perspectives and stories that make our own journey unique. And that's the thing that no matter who you sell to or whatever it is that you sell, that is something that is always going to differentiate you in the marketplace because that is a unique thing to you. No one can compete with that because it's your story. So even if others are doing storytelling, they're not telling the same story as you because your unique story is your unique story.
Okay, yeah, brother. That makes sense. Can you walk us through a success story or standout result that you have achieved with a client?
Walk you through a standout result I've received with a client using storytelling? Or just in general?
In general.
Okay, I think storytelling will apply here. One of the things I help people do with context selling is, well, let me set the background here. How do we leverage context? So it's messaging, but one of the places I think that it's really, really useful, I work a lot in B2B sales, so business to business. And a lot of that takes place on the phone, right? You're talking to people, you're figuring out their needs, qualification, et cetera. And so I developed a call script and a call review rubric that I review calls through. And it runs through about 20 to 25 points, depending on the person's business. And then I rank them and then I coach reps specifically on where they individually need to improve. One quick thing about sales training, a lot of sales training is very general. A lot of coaching is very general. And when you have general coaching or general training, you get general results. So if I'm working with a team and it's like 5 of us, you may be really incredible, Atul, at doing the outreach and getting somebody on the phone and qualifying them. But you are not as good at setting next steps with them and moving the sale forward versus one of your colleagues, maybe not as good at discovery, but they're great at setting next steps. Why would we coach you on the same thing?
Exactly.
Doesn't make sense, right? So a lot of the methodology of context selling is sitting inside of a phone call and running through what works well inside of a call and where that individual can improve to make their next call the best call. And so in using that, it's adding things like storytelling, different structures, it's adding specific questions, but I was able to increase conversion rates in one company by over 50%. So pretty substantial growth in that. So from every 1 out of 4 calls, they were closing 1 out of every 3 calls, which is a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty cool. Very proud of it.
Yeah, brother. So, curious, like, what's your biggest motivation?
What's my biggest motivation? Freedom, man. Freedom. I've been working for myself now full time. I think this is 6 years and I own my schedule. And I think it was Simon Bowen said this. I'm not sure if it's Simon, but whoever said it, it's not my quote, but I like it. It says, I work an entrepreneur because I wanted to work a half day every day. I get to choose the 12 hours of the day that I work. So I get to choose my schedule. I get to figure out, I get to live where I want. And that keeps me getting up in the morning and putting in the hours for sure. Freedom.
Same page.
Yeah, man.
Okay, brother. So if you could tell every business owner one thing about selling, what would it be?
Listen more, ask more questions. Yeah, those would be the biggest. Because it's not about you.
It's about them.
It's about them. And if they can't see themselves in it, they're not going to buy anything.
Plus, when you don't listen, we cannot able to understand what they need.
That's it, man. That's it. And people buy when they need something and you help them understand that 1, they have an issue, 2, that issue is solvable, and 3, that you've clearly understood that their issue is one that you can solve, and then you paint yourself as the answer in that context. If you go out of that order, it's going to be pretty ugly.
Okay, so if there's one selling, maybe you can say tactic, okay, you could have learned before, what would it be?
That I wish I learned earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a bunch of them. I think, just one?
Okay, you can tell more.
I'll give you 2. And again, this works in a business to business context, but the first is always set an agenda. So when you get on a call with somebody or you're starting a meeting with somebody, tell people what the meeting's for, tell people what the order of the meeting is going to be and what you're going to expect. I'll give you an example. So if we got on a sales call, Atul, or for your next sales call, try it. The person gets on, I say something that sounds like this. I say, hey, Atul, great to be here with you today. Just to let you know, a really quick run of show for the call. Would love to learn a little bit more about you and your business and what you're working on. I want to share a little bit about us and what we're building. And if it makes sense based on anything we discussed today for us to talk about working together, we'll schedule some more time to do that. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Boom. What did we do there? We lowered their cortisol, right? Cortisol is the chemical in the brain that causes sales resistance. When people are like, oh, you're going to try to sell me something. I've already said what the call's about. I said, I'm not going to pitch you and try to sell you. I said, I'm going to figure out if there's a need. If there is, we'll schedule the call. We've already agreed to what the next step is if I've determined that there is a next step, which puts me in control and lowers the person's resistance. We can just have a conversation with each other. So if we do an agenda, we've set expectations and we're in control. So that's the first. The second, really important, always set a next step on the call. There's an acronym, BAMFAM, BAMFAM, book a meeting from a meeting. If your next step is another meeting to go over your proposal, to share a demo or whatever, book that with that person live on the call. I learned those two things at various times in my career, and those have been huge because they do a couple of things. First, the agenda sets control for you. It sets expectations and people agree to what's going to happen next. When you ask for the meeting at the end of the call, if someone doesn't want to book a meeting, they don't really want to solve their problem. So it's another way to qualify them in or out as a step. So those would be the two biggest things I wish I learned earlier in my career. And I think they can serve every person who's in sales much better if they do those two things. There's a lot more, but those two would be huge.
That was helpful, brother. Okay, so
yep.
If you talk about one of your attribute, okay, your trait that helped you become what you are today, then what's that?
Perseverance and resilience, man. Just not quitting. Like I said, you asked me earlier, what's my motivation? And it's freedom. And if that's the thing I'm shooting for, I'm willing to suffer for that. And so I think having a mindset of what I'm shooting for really helps me to go through those tougher times because it's going to be tough. I think you're a business owner as well. It's not all beautiful and easy. You maybe get one day a year where it is, and the rest of it's very much a challenge, and you're testing and learning a lot about yourself. But I'd say, yeah, man, I don't quit. I'm not a quitter.
Yeah, brother. You know what? Just before the call, I think 30 minutes before the call, I was just thinking about resilience.
It's key because again, even if you decide to close your business and do something else, those traits of who the business has helped you become are going to apply very well to whatever is next. And you only need to win one time in life to win the entire life, right? So I think that resilience is a key if you're going to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, brother. Okay, so for our listeners who want to know more about you and want to connect with you, then where can they go? Yeah,
thank you for the question. I think the easiest and cleanest thing for anybody is to go to Stephen Steers, StephenSteers.com/podcast. So we discussed call scripts and some other resources. I have all of those listed there. So you could just download at your whim, and that will help you join my newsletter, and I could stay in touch with you there. That's probably the best place. Or if you want LinkedIn, I'm on there. I'm the guy with the hair.
Okay, brother. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Have fun and work hard, but make sure you enjoy life along the way because it's pretty short.
Yeah, brother. I always forgot to do that.
Yeah, me too sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, brother. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. It was really great chatting with you.
Thank you for having me, Atul. Pleasure to meet you.
Same here, brother.